DIY because watching one 10-minute YouTube video turns everyone into an electrician, surgeon, and part-time demolition expert. 1. The homemade hair disaster. Meet the woman who watched a single how to cut your own bangs tutorial and decided she was the next Vidal Sassoon. She started strong, scissors, confidence, bad lighting, but somewhere between trim just a little and whoops, uneven, she transformed into a human Wi-Fi signal. Her bangs had more layers than a conspiracy theory. When she tried to fix them, she just made it shorter. By the end, she looked like she lost a fight with a lawnmower. The best part? She uploaded the result to YouTube as "nailed it" and got 500,000 views, proof that bad decisions can in fact go viral. 2. The IKEA kitchen. That fought back one man watched a 12-minute IKEA assembly video and thought, how hard can it be? By hour 4, his kitchen looked like a modern art installation called Confusion in particle board. The cabinets opened backward, one drawer only worked if you kicked it first, and the countertop leaned like it was trying to escape. When the stove wouldn't fit, he blamed European measurement conspiracies. The grand finale came when he proudly plugged in the microwave and blew the power in the entire block. The neighbors called it sabotage. He called it custom wiring. YouTube called it content. 3. The backyard pool of regret. A family decided to save money by building their own backyard pool after watching a tutorial called Easy DIY Pool in 1 weekend. Step 1. Dig a hole. Step 2. Realize the ground is full of roots, pipes, and regret. By day 3, the hole was the size of a shallow grave, half full of rainwater, and their garden hose had mysteriously fused to the mud. The husband insisted it just needed a liner and positive thinking. The liner tore, the mud collapsed, and the pool became a mosquito resort. They still tell guests it's a natural pond feature. YouTube comments called it the most relatable tragedy of summer. 4. The ceiling fan of doom. A college student watched one YouTube tutorial on installing ceiling fans and decided he was ready to defy both gravity and common sense. He skipped all the safety parts because that's just legal filler. His masterpiece was a fan that wobbled like a drunk UFO. When he proudly flipped the switch, it took flight, literally, launching one blade across the room like a helicopter trying to escape student debt. The rest of the fan hung there, spinning out of spite, while his roommate screamed, "Bro, it's in orbit!" The fallout included one broken TV, 2 dented walls, and a newfound respect for professionals with licenses. His landlord's reaction was biblical. The YouTube comments called it a valuable lesson in rotational chaos. To this day, that fan is legendary in dorm myth, proof that YouTube can teach you how to install a ceiling fan, but not why you shouldn't. 5. The cement countertop catastrophe. A couple saw a tutorial titled DIY concrete countertops that look expensive. They missed the fine print. Requires skill, patience, and physics. Armed with a YouTube-certified confidence, they mixed cement directly in their kitchen sink. Because what's the worst that could happen? The answer? Everything. The mixture hardened mid-pour, trapping a spatula, their phone, and the sink drain in one eternal monument to hubris. When they finally freed the sink, using a hammer and prayer, the countertop looked like the moon's surface, cratered, cracked, and somehow still damp. Their friends tried to be supportive, calling it industrial chic. But every time someone set down a glass, it tipped sideways and slid off like it was fleeing the scene. They now eat dinner on TV trays and tell visitors it's modern art in progress. YouTube says, cement projects require precision. They say, it requires therapy. 6. The Great Home Waxing War. One woman watched a 30-second ad for homemade waxing strips and decided to skip the salon forever. The video made it look so easy. Just melt, apply, and peel. She melted, applied, and promptly discovered she had created superglue. Her arm hair? Gone. Her dignity? Also gone. When she tried to remove the wax, it only spread farther, turning her bathroom into a sticky war zone. In desperation, she Googled how to remove homemade wax, and every solution made it worse. Olive oil? Now shiny and sticky. Hot water? Instant regret. Cold shower? She froze mid-scream. When her roommate walked in, she was standing there like a mannequin covered in caramel. The incident ended with a trip to urgent care and a nurse who couldn't stop laughing. Her YouTube review was brutally honest. 0 stars. Works great if your goal is to become part of your furniture. 7. The electrician who shocked himself. Twice a man watched a YouTube tutorial called How to Fix a Light Switch, super easy, and immediately decided to skip step 1, turning off the power. He unscrewed the switch, touched a wire, and discovered enlightenment, literally. The shock sent him backward into his cat, who bolted straight through a screen door. Dazed but undeterred, he got back up and said, "Okay, now I know which wire not to touch." He then touched it again. The second zap gave him a free hair restyling, Einstein chic. When his wife asked what happened, he said, "YouTube lied." She said, "No, you can't read." The switch was later fixed by an actual electrician who described the wiring as a hate crime against electricity. The man's video response? Learning is about failure. His subscribers agreed. You've mastered that part. E8. The homemade fire pit fiasco. A suburban dad saw a YouTube short titled "Build a Backyard Fire Pit for $30" and immediately decided this was his destiny. He bought bricks, lighter, fluid, and confidence. What he didn't buy was common sense or sand. He built it directly on his wooden deck, proudly announcing, "It's fire-resistant." Spoiler, it wasn't. Within 10 minutes, the deck began to smolder like it was auditioning for Backdraft 2. He panicked, grabbed a hose, and slipped on his own spilled lighter fluid, creating what witnesses described as a barbecue ballet. The neighbors called the fire department. His wife called a realtor. By morning, the deck was gone, the pit was a crater, and his pride was ash. When asked what went wrong, he blamed bad YouTube lighting. The firefighters blamed him. The video title was later updated to "Build a Fire Pit, just not like this." 9. The Great DIY Dishwasher Flood. A guy watched one confident British plumber on YouTube install a dishwasher and thought, "Easy, I can do that." Armed with optimism, 2 wrenches, and a suspiciously leaky memory of high school physics, he got to work. The video said, "Connect the water line," so he did. Wrong. When he turned on the valve, his kitchen instantly transformed into a reenactment of Titanic, Suburban Edition. Water sprayed from every direction. The cat fled to higher ground, and his wife yelled, "Turn it off." He proudly replied, "I'm trying," while standing ankle-deep in his own hubris. After 45 minutes of chaos, a neighbor came over and flipped the main shutoff valve, instantly fixing what YouTube had called a beginner-friendly project. The dishwasher, however, was never the same. It hummed, groaned, and leaked like it was crying from trauma. The man ended up paying triple the installation fee to a real plumber, who politely asked, "Why didn't you just call me first?" His response, "Because YouTube said I could." Humanity has never trusted the internet more, and regretted it faster. 10. The easy backyard chicken coop. One family decided to go full homestead after binge-watching a YouTube series called Farm Life Made Simple. Their dream: raise backyard chickens, save money, and live off the grid. Their reality: one half-finished coop, 2 traumatized chickens, and a marriage in peril. The husband built the frame out of recycled pallets, because that's what the video used. Unfortunately, his recycled pallets were full of termites, which promptly upgraded to a free-range buffet on his deck. The coop had no door for ventilation and a roof that flapped like a trampoline every time the wind blew. Within days, the chickens escaped, the neighbors complained, and animal control politely explained that feral poultry wasn't covered by local zoning. When asked what went wrong, the wife said, "He followed every step, except the part about measuring." Their YouTube hero ended the video saying, "Now just sit back and enjoy fresh eggs every morning." They ended theirs calling pest control, animal control, and marriage counseling 3 services that, ironically, don't come with tutorials. 11. The self-made smart mirror that outsmarted its creator. A tech enthusiast decided he'd had enough of paying for overpriced gadgets. He found a YouTube tutorial promising a smart mirror for under $50 and immediately started gathering supplies: an old tablet, some wood, and the confidence of a man who once built a Lego set without instructions. He mounted the tablet behind the glass, wired a few things, and proudly declared victory. Then the mirror started talking, on its own. Late one night, while brushing his teeth, the mirror lit up and played a YouTube ad for toothpaste. Another night, it announced, "Software update complete," in the darkness, sending him sprinting down the hallway in pure terror. He hadn't built a mirror, he'd built a haunted tech demon. Even worse, it recorded his voice commands and accidentally uploaded clips to his cloud account titled "Mirror Testing 3 a.m. Final." His friends still quote them. Eventually, he disconnected the whole setup, taped over the camera, and replaced it with a normal mirror from Walmart. His review: "Sure, it's not smart, but at least it doesn't threaten me with firmware updates while I floss." 12. The DIY deck that defied gravity and logic. A man in Ohio decided he didn't need a contractor to build a deck. Just a weekend, a YouTube playlist, and some determination. He followed a tutorial titled "How to Build a Deck in 3 Easy Steps." Step 1. Dig holes. He skipped that part because the ground looked solid. Step 2. Use screws. He used nails. Cheaper, faster, louder. Step 3. Level it. He eyeballed it. The result? A deck that slanted 5 degrees downhill, wobbling like a seesaw every time someone stepped on it. At the first barbecue, the grill rolled off and burst into flames. Guests screamed, the burgers burned, and the deck collapsed just enough to look offended. His insurance company called it an act of God. His wife called it an act of you. Afterward, he told friends, "It's not unsafe. It's just interactive." They told him to start watching This Old House instead of Random Guy with No Shirt Explains Decks. It turns out gravity doesn't care how many ads you skip. 13. The YouTube plumber sinkhole saga. One landlord decided to save money by fixing his own clogged sink. He found a tutorial titled "Unclog Any Drain in Minutes," a sentence that would soon ruin his week. The host used baking soda, vinegar, and confidence. He used the same, plus an industrial plunger for extra power. When that didn't work, he tried a wet-dry vacuum. Then, because pressure equals progress, he sealed the drain and reversed the vacuum hose. The sink exploded like a champagne bottle from hell. Water, sludge, and a decade's worth of mystery goo blasted the ceiling, the cabinets, and his soul. The backsplash peeled off, the faucet broke, and the drain pipe split clean in half. It looked like a plumbing crime scene. The actual plumber who arrived later asked, "Did you follow a YouTube video?" The man nodded. The plumber sighed and said, "Yeah, I can tell. YouTube's keeping me in business." The final bill? $1,200 and a lifetime ban from DIY plumbing. 14. The DIY home theater collapse. A dad with too much confidence and too little carpentry skill decided to mount his 70-inch TV like a pro. YouTube made it look effortless. Find studs, drill, hang, and brag. He skipped the stud finder because he could tell by knocking. What he actually found was drywall, pure, fragile drywall. With pride in his heart and screws in the wrong places, he mounted the TV, took one step back, and admired his work. It fell. The crash echoed like thunder, and the screen shattered into confetti. In a panic, he tried to catch it mid-fall, spraining his wrist and snapping the remote. His wife walked in just in time to see him standing there, dusty and defeated, staring at a cratered wall. When asked why he didn't hire someone, he said, "They charge too much." The repair, TV replacement, and wall patch cost him $1,300, plus one lifetime of mockery. He later posted a new video titled, "What Not to Do When Mounting a TV." Ironically, it went viral. His caption summed it up perfectly. "I've made peace with my mistakes because they've made me famous." 15. The easy bathroom tile tragedy. A young couple thought they'd save thousands by retiling their bathroom after watching a YouTube tutorial called "Spa Bathroom for Beginners." The host calmly said, "Just start in the center and work your way out." They started in the corner. By the third row, the tiles looked like they were fleeing from the walls. The grout dried unevenly, the pattern drifted like modern art, and somehow the floor slanted enough to make soap bars slide toward the drain. To fix it, they watched another video recommending a self-leveling compound, which they misread as "pour freely." Their bathroom quickly became a gray lava field. When they realized the tiles were permanently sealed under an inch of concrete, they gave up and turned it into a plant room. Friends now compliment the industrial vibe, not realizing it's actually a graveyard for ambition. The husband insists it's fine. Pinterest loves concrete aesthetics. The wife just sighs whenever she hears the word DIY. YouTube promised a spa. They got a bunker. 16. The kitchen cabinet massacre. A retiree decided to refresh his kitchen by painting his cabinets after one YouTube video convinced him it was foolproof. The video forgot to mention one detail: primer, so he skipped it. After 3 glossy coats, his cabinets looked beautiful for exactly 4 hours. The next morning, they were tacky to the touch and smelled like a paint factory in August. Every time he opened a door, fingerprints appeared like ghostly warnings. He tried to speed dry them with a hairdryer, only melting half the paint into artistic drips. Undeterred, he watched another tutorial about distressing furniture for a vintage look. He didn't realize distressing meant intentional sanding. He used steel wool and a hammer. Now, the cabinets looked like they had survived a bar fight. His daughter called it post-apocalyptic farmhouse. The smell lingered for months, the finish never dried, and he swore off DIY forever. Until he found a new video: how to build your own kitchen island. The cycle, sadly, continues. 17. The quick fix: car repair catastrophe. A man named Paul decided his 2008 Honda didn't need a mechanic, just a 12-minute YouTube tutorial titled "Fix Engine Noise Fast." The host suggested tightening a few bolts and adding an engine additive for smooth performance. Paul poured in an entire bottle of cooking oil because it looked similar. The car went silent for 10 minutes. Then came the death rattle. Smoke poured from the hood like a fog machine at a metal concert. He panicked, threw water on it, and immediately cracked something important. When the tow truck arrived, the driver asked, "Did you add the oil yourself?" Paul proudly nodded. "Yup, olive oil, extra virgin." The mechanic stared, speechless. The car, once reliable, was now a $2,000 lawn ornament. Paul still defends his logic, saying, "Technically, it's oil." His wife no longer lets him near the toolbox or the kitchen. The video's disclaimer: for entertainment purposes only. Paul learned too late that YouTube entertainment is expensive. 18. The garden fountain. Explosion: one homeowner wanted a peaceful backyard fountain, something serene like in the video DIY Zen water feature in 1 hour. He followed every step except the one labeled "Use low voltage pump." He used an old sump pump from his basement, reasoning more power means more flow. When he flipped the switch, it didn't trickle. It launched. A 20-foot geyser blasted skyward, drenching his patio and short-circuiting the outdoor lights. His dog barked, his wife screamed, and the neighborhood kids cheered like it was Old Faithful. The pump overloaded, tripped the breaker, and left the yard smelling faintly of ozone and regret. When asked what went wrong, he shrugged. The guy on YouTube didn't say don't use a big pump. The video's creator later commented, "Sir, that's not a fountain. It's a liability." He dismantled it and replaced it with a bird bath, which now leaks slightly, but at least doesn't threaten aviation safety. He still meditates by it, but mostly to calm down. 19. The Great Homemade Sauna Disaster. A guy in Minnesota watched a YouTube video called "Build a Sauna for Under $100" and immediately thought, finally, luxury for the working man. He converted his backyard shed using aluminum foil, a space heater, and optimism. The tutorial warned, ventilation is crucial. He said, "Nah, it's cold out." 10 minutes into his first session, the air turned into a shimmering, oxygen-free nightmare. He staggered out, sweating, dizzy, and slightly foil-wrapped, like a baked potato with trauma. His wife came outside and yelled, "Are you trying to cook yourself?" He weakly replied, "Technically, yes." The heat melted the shed's plastic window, fused his flip-flops to the floor, and permanently branded the outline of a Home Depot logo into one wall. When firefighters arrived, they asked if it was arson. He said, "Worse, YouTube." He now tells everyone it's a smokehouse for meat, because that's easier to explain than almost dying of handcrafted hubris. 20. The DIY wedding cake meltdown. A bride decided she didn't need a professional baker, just YouTube and courage. The tutorial: elegant tiered cake in 3 easy steps. The result? The Tower of Pisa, but edible. She mixed batter in a salad bowl, used 2 different recipes, and ignored every measurement for creative freedom. The bottom layer baked fine. The top 2 baked sideways. By the time she stacked them, the icing was melting faster than her optimism. She tried to fix the tilt with extra frosting, creating what witnesses called a dairy landslide. The groom walked in, stared, and whispered, "Is it alive?" The cake collapsed mid-rehearsal, smearing buttercream across the floor like a sugary crime scene. A friend filmed it, posted it online, and the couple accidentally went viral. The bride laughed through tears, admitting, "Next time, I'll marry a baker." The internet crowned it the most relatable wedding disaster ever. 21. The homemade drone debacle. One teenager watched a tech channel titled, "Build Your Own Drone, Simple and Cheap." Simple, sure, if you understand aerodynamics. He used cardboard, duct tape, and parts scavenged from an old leaf blower. The maiden flight lasted 6 seconds, 5 of which were majestic. On the 6th, it went rogue, sliced a patio umbrella, and crashed through his neighbor's tomato garden. He retrieved it like a fallen soldier, duct-taped it again, and called version 2, the Phoenix. It immediately caught fire on takeoff. The fire department wasn't amused. When his dad asked how much it cost, he said, "Technically, nothing. Emotionally, everything." The YouTuber who inspired him commented, "Maybe start with a kite." The drone's remains now hang in his garage as a reminder that some dreams should stay grounded. 22. The homemade hot tub horror. A couple thought they could make a rustic outdoor spa using a kiddie pool, copper tubing, and a propane burner. The tutorial promised luxury vibes. Reality delivered boil your friend's soup. They ran the tubing from the burner to the pool, heated the water, and within minutes reached 160 degrees. Their relaxing soak became an Olympic sprint out of scalding water. The husband screamed, the wife slipped, and the dog howled like it was witnessing an exorcism. They doused the flames with beer, because that's what they had. The pool melted into the lawn, leaving behind a smoking crater of melted plastic and shame. When a neighbor asked what happened, they said, "Science." The propane tank survived, their pride didn't. 23. The simple staircase to nowhere. An ambitious homeowner decided to add a staircase to his attic after watching Build Stairs Like a Pro. The video said, measure twice, cut once. He measured once, guessed twice, and ended up with a staircase that ended 6 inches below the floor above. His wife called it abstract architecture. He called it close enough. Every time he climbed it, he had to do a little jump at the end, like an Olympic gymnast entering the attic. His in-laws refused to use it. The building inspector just stared, sighed, and said, "YouTube again?" The man nodded proudly. The staircase was eventually removed after a friend tripped, hit the ceiling, and declared, "This house is actively trying to kill me." The stairs didn't lead to success, but they sure took stupidity to new heights.